And she just kind of looked at me and she's like, we don't normally do that. And I said, well, I'm keeping this baby. Like I was just,
yeah, show me the screen.
Why would you show me? I was in an abortion clinic.
I just ran to my car. I went to my house and I just showered and I just went into panic mode. I felt like I lost my voice that night.
She leans and she goes, it's twins. And I was like,
it was such a weight lifted, just knowing that the couple years of just busting tail to get it done had paid off. And now I have a nursing degree and I have my baby.
Just learning to accept things aren't going to be perfect. Your life is not going to always be as it was planned out or as you planned it out in your head. And you have to make it work and you have to keep going and find something else that you can be.
Welcome back to Unplanned and Untold, and today we're celebrating 2 incredible years of hosting this podcast and, if you can believe it, our 50th episode. To mark the milestone, we've pulled together a compilation of the most jaw-dropping, emotional, and unforgettable clips from these past interviews. Whether you've been with us since the very beginning or just joined, this episode is packed with moments that have made this journey so powerful. Let's dive right on in. First up, we know it's never easy telling your parents you're unexpectedly pregnant. And after 50 episodes, we've heard it all. From shock to silence to surprising support, here's a look back at some of the wildest parents' reactions we featured on the podcast.
My dad came home from work and I was so scared. And because my brother Josh told me that my dad knew. And my dad came in and he said, well, what were you doing 3 months ago? And kind of just made light of it.
Okay.
And then said, let's get you in for, an appointment to have an abortion. And I said, well, I want to. I don't want to have an abortion. And the kitchen table flipped. Wow. All the food off, just.
The last thing she said to me was, you might want to try to get as much as you can tonight, because I got kicked out of my house that night. And she said, because, yes, she threw me out on graduation night.
Wow.
Yeah. And then she said, and you need to be here by lunchtime tomorrow to get the rest, or else I'll put it in the front yard and burn it.
Oh,
and she meant it.
She had always told me when I was a teenager, if you ever get pregnant, I'm sending you away to boarding school. I didn't know what was going to happen to this baby, but I knew I was going to boarding school. So,
oh my goodness, you were mentally prepared for that.
I knew it was bad news. When I went to talk with her, I must have come out of my room and gone to talk to her. Mm-hmm. Her reaction was, this is going to ruin your life. You're not going to be able to sleep for 6 years. You're not going to finish college. You've wasted all this time and effort and money pursuing something you'll never be able to finish. Your life is basically over.
Some of the reactions from our guest parents were unforgettable, but the real challenge wasn't just breaking the news. It was what came next. Being a student and a mom is hard enough, but adding the demands of a D1 athlete took it to a whole new level. Here's an inside look at how one of our guests balanced being not only a student mom, but also a D1 athlete.
I remember we had one home game that season because of the way the schedule fell, and my daughter came, my friends came. I have so many pictures from her being on the floor, in the locker room, in the stands. And so a lot of my teammates' parents were also there, so they got to see my daughter for the first time. So it was a really special moment to be able to see her in the stands after that whole year. So it was really fun. After I told my coaches, I told my teammates separately. So we were on a call actually without our coaches, and that was when I told them. I had told 2 of my teammates before I got on the call because I was really scared of how everybody else was going to react. So I needed to kind of feel it out. Yes. But it was really fun telling those first couple teammates because they were so excited when I called them and told them, and then watching the rest of my team, obviously in shock at first, but then realizing there's going to be a baby, and they all got excited about it.
Balancing school, motherhood, and athletics takes an incredible amount of strength. But that strength sometimes begins at crossroads. For many, an unplanned pregnancy brings an overwhelming number of questions and emotions. In this next look back, we'll hear from guests who initially thought abortion might be their path forward, but after walking into the clinic, everything changed for them.
I was like smiling and we're talking, and I was like, can I see the screen? Because she wouldn't show me the screen.
Right.
And she just kind of looked at me and she's like, we don't normally do that. And I said, oh, well, I'm keeping this baby. Like I was just,
show me the screen.
Why would you show me? I was in an abortion clinic.
Wow. And you had no clue.
No clue. Because it said something like Grace something. Like,
okay. So of course they're confused at that point, and you're confused because all of these like really, distraught women in the lobby, which are in your shoes that you were in
a week ago,
prior.
Yeah.
Wild.
They go to an ultrasound first.
Okay.
And another thing, like, that just really always sticks out in my memory from this day. They ask you to sign a form of like, do you want to see the ultrasound?
Oh, really?
And so I'm like, no, I don't want to be. I was like, I don't want the first ultrasound I see of myself to be something that I'm ending. Like, that's not how I want to remember it.
Okay.
This is already going to be traumatizing enough. Like, let's not bring that into it. So I said no, and I'm laying on the table. My eyes are shut, and she's doing the ultrasound. She's like, so how far along did you say you were? And I was like, I don't exactly know, but I think like 3-4 weeks. And she goes, you are not 3 or 4 weeks. She goes, you're way too far along for the pill.
The clinic was scary. Oh my goodness. Like, they have you sit in front of a computer and watch a video of what, you're going to go through. And I was further along because I was 15 and I didn't even realize like, oh, I didn't have my period this month. I'm so young.
Sure.
So I was already almost 3 months when I found out. So I would have to go through a 2-day procedure where they would have to actually do. And I was like, I can't. Like, no.
And then they said they needed to just check my urine before I went in. So I peed in a cup. And I'm sitting there just thinking, how the heck am I going to get out of this? And when the woman walked back from that urine test, she said, I'm sorry, we can't do the abortion today. Your urine pregnancy test was negative.
What? As unimaginable as that last story was, this next one might just leave you speechless. Choosing to continue a pregnancy doesn't make the journey any easier. In this segment, we'll hear from one student mom who experienced an unimaginable pain, becoming pregnant without consent, while also experiencing unimaginable joy when she first laid eyes on her baby girl.
And I was in the same bed as a gentleman. I won't even say gentleman, a guy. Let me say that. And I just remember feeling so dirty and so ashamed. I just ran to my car. I went to my house and I just showered, and I just went into panic mode at that very moment. I really feel like that's when anxiety for me truly became a factor in my life, because I never had a situation prior to feel that feeling of, oh my goodness. So I was just very quiet. I felt like I lost my voice that night. And so we get in the room, and then they put the little heart monitor on your stomach. That's the first thing they put on. And I heard a heartbeat, and I was like, it was the most beautiful sound I had ever heard. It was just unreal. And I knew as soon as I heard that heartbeat, it's like, this is special. This is mine. It's a whole different kind of love that you've never felt before.
In this next clip, you'll hear from our guest reminiscing on just being a teenager, completely unaware she was pregnant until the moment she went into labor. No symptoms, no warning, just a life-changing reality hitting all at once. This moment left us speechless, and it's one of those stories you'll never forget. Take a listen.
Take me through that point in time. When did you find out you were pregnant? How did you know?
I was maybe 100 pounds soaking wet when I was at that age. I was still having my monthly menstrual cycle.
Wow.
Wasn't sick, didn't show. I had felt fine. And one morning I had woke up and was not feeling well, stayed from home from school that day, and started having a lot of just, cramping and bleeding and whatnot. And then ended up at the hospital and ta-da!
Not realizing you're pregnant until you're in labor is quite the shock that's hard to beat. But finding out you're pregnant with 2 babies is even more of a jaw dropper. In this look back, we'll hear how one student mom processed the moment those 2 blue lines turned out to mean twins.
She didn't do a transvaginal ultrasound, which is more common now. She was just doing an abdominal. It took her so long. And I think it probably didn't take her as long to find anything as much as it took her so long to be like, yes, okay, there is 2 babies in there. So she's scanning, and finally she goes, oh, and she's this little British lady, Miss Karen, love her. This little British lady, she goes, oh, darling, we're going to need some tissues. And I'm thinking, maybe I have had a miscarriage. And she just doesn't know that, like, that could be a blessing to me. This
a part of
roughly 20-year-old girl.
Yeah, kind of hoping maybe that, like, this isn't going to happen.
So crazy to, which is so crazy to think back now, of course.
Sure.
But those are the thoughts of a terrified 20-year-old.
Yes.
And so she leans and she goes, it's twins. And I was like, I mean, full blown, like, you thought I had a panic attack when I had that positive test, full blown panic attack on the table. I'm like, and she's like, oh, honey, like, do I need to call somebody? And I was like, go get my mom. So she goes and she gets my mom from the lobby.
And despite all the unexpected twists, from surprise labors to twin reveals, all of these women still made it across the graduation stage. Graduating from college is a big task that many dream of their entire lives. Doing it while raising a child or even twins as a student mom, now that's something most people cannot imagine. Get ready to hear how these student moms pushed through the unimaginable and how resilience led them to accomplishing something incredible.
And then when I finally finished, I finished early because I had to, because of my due date was March 31st, and I didn't end up having Griffin until April 7th, but I squished everything. I did double the amount of work so I could get done all of my requirements.
Wow.
And baby.
Wow.
And I remember waking up on the morning of graduation, like, I really did that.
Right. You did.
And when I was sitting in my seat, I was like, yeah, all of these people graduated, but so did I.
Yeah.
And I had a baby.
It's was such a weight lifted. Just knowing that the couple years of just busting tail to get it done had paid off, and now I have a nursing degree and I have my baby and I was able to get both, and it was awesome relieving feeling, and a super proud accomplishment of mine.
There was a little bit of back and forth and whatnot, but when I walked across that stage, I remember to this day, I still cried because it was like, I did it. I did it. I did not let statistics, I'm not a statistic. I was like, yes, I did it.
It was such a proud moment for me. And I knew we had a brighter future ahead where we were going to be financially stable. I knew in my mind, we're going to be financially stable. I'm going to be able to give her the life that, I had growing up, that I want for my child.
It was amazing. It was amazing. And it was the best part of it was that my oldest daughter was so excited, because by then she was old enough to know what it meant and how hard I had worked. And she had seen me doing homework, and even by then we had our second daughter, and they were over the moon.
Those graduation moments weren't just a finish line. They were proof of how deeply these women have grown. Completing a college degree while juggling student life and motherhood is no easy feat, but it can shape a person in unimaginable ways. In this next segment, we'll hear how young motherhood shaped these student moms into the strong and resilient women they are today.
I definitely developed some grit during those years. I worked. So once I had Molly Kate, she was born in August, and then I kept working and keeping her at home until she was old enough to like go to daycare. And then I transferred to University of West Georgia, which was a huge, I guess it was kind of a huge letdown for me that my parents were like, you cannot go back to Savannah. Like, it was 5 hours from where we lived.
Right.
Having to accept that like your dreams like have to change, like this child has to take priority. That was a big wake up call for me. And you know, just learning to accept things aren't going to be perfect. Your life is not going to always be as it was planned out or as you planned it out in your head. And you have to make it work, and you have to keep going and find something else that you can be successful in and passionate about. And so that's what I did.
You know, it made my life a lot more difficult, but it also, I think, saved my life in a lot of ways. You know, gosh, it was hard. It was hard. It was really hard, but wouldn't change it, you know?
Right.
And now I think about my daughter and how successful and well she's doing and what she brings to the world and her light. You know, she was really meant to be here.
Walking through an unplanned pregnancy, student life, and motherhood is not something easily done alone. While young motherhood shaped these women into who they are today, some of that strength came from those who rallied around them during a challenging time. Get ready to hear how one organization steps in to bridge a gap so many women face, and how that support has helped these student moms to realize just how capable they truly are.
You know, Baby Steps was a huge help. I moved into the house at the end of October, early November, and there was a mom in the house who was having her baby pretty soon after. And so that was my first real up close and personal, that's what I'm about to go through in a couple of months. So I was able to get a couple of months like heads up almost of like what was to come.
Right.
So I think that significantly helped, just seeing another mom do it.
Oh gosh, it was so nice to like know other moms who were struggling through the same things. Like the fact that like, you know, like Neat and Madison and, you know, some of these girls that I just got to be around were like, we're all trucking through school and being a mom at the same time, you know, like it's that camaraderie and like community that I needed so desperately, to not feel like I was the only one, you know.
Right. And it was so nice, you know, now looking back on it, seeing 3 different moms at that point. By the time that I had John Luke go through it and experience it, and it wasn't foreign anymore. You know, my journey was still to come for that part, but it was like, all right, well, if they can do it, then I can do it. And so that, you know, made a huge difference, I think. And it's just so fun being able to not know what in the world you're doing, and you can just ask the girl next door. You can go to the back and be like, hey, I know you've been through this. What do I do?
So then I reached out to Sarah. We set up a meeting. I came to the house and met everyone, and she just talked to me about like what it would look like, what moving in would look like. And I really had no plans of like being a part of Baby Steps until I like walked through those doors, and I was like, this is real. Like I can really do this. And it's really one of a kind. And like, I'm so very lucky to have gone to Auburn and have that resource there for me.
And that was just kind of my moment of like, okay, she gets me. Like, she gets the fact that like, this is not a comfortable thing, that I'm just like, oh, are you from Baby Steps? Or are you from Baby Steps? Like, it was not a normal, interaction. But she was just immediately warm and fuzzy. Stood in line with me to order coffee, at Coffee Shop Hops. Baby Steps is the one who pays for the coffee.
Mm-hmm.
And at that season of life, obviously you're 20 and pregnant, like a coffee and a donut is not in your budget of life.
Right.
And so something like that was just huge.
Yeah.
And then she took me back and we sat at a table, and another employee or a student kind of resident that worked with Baby Steps, Sarah, was also, I think, sitting at that table. So then it was the three of us sitting together.
Wow.
And it was just normal conversation. As a new mother, now everything is about your baby. And Baby Steps is one of the resources that's really about you. And of course, that transpires into a baby. Like, the most important thing for a baby is for the mom to be happy. And Baby Steps is one of those things that is for you, prioritized for you, and is going to just kind of help you regardless. And ultimately, it really just can't hurt. Like, even had I gone that one time and not ever gone back, I would have just walked away with two girls who, knew I was pregnant now, but also like the rest of the world was about to find out too anyways.
I really didn't have a plan. I just knew I was going to, like, I had to go to school.
You were going to figure out a way.
Yes.
Exactly.
And Baby Steps gave me that way. Absolutely.
As we reflect on all of these journeys, from fear to strength, isolation to support, one thing remains clear. If you're experiencing an unplanned pregnancy in college, you are not alone. Many women have walked this path before you, and in this final segment, they're here to share their honest, heartfelt advice on how to navigate life as a student, a mom, a friend, a coworker, and one day a graduate.
So if we have a listener that's listening to the podcast and she's pregnant and scared, what advice would you give her at this point in time?
The first thing would be, don't let anybody tell you no. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't do it, because you can. There are resources in the area, whichever area you may be in. There's, incredible resources here. But, just if you know something, if you know that there's a path that you want to take and that feels right to you, you can get it done. You can do it. There are a lot of sacrifices that have to be made. I feel like I've sacrificed everything, friendships, just any relationships, because you're taking a completely different walk now. So if you're choosing that path, be prepared for a lot of, sleepless nights, a lot of tears, but being this many years out of that, it was worth it every step of the way.
I would say, I know you're scared, and it's normal to be scared, but you can do this. And I would inform my younger self about Baby Steps. Like, there's help, there's support out there. You're not alone. Even if your parents can't support you or choose not to support you, even if your boyfriend or, whoever, got you pregnant isn't in the picture, because oftentimes girls are left all alone, even without the guy acknowledging his part in it, that there's support. There is support. And if you want to have this baby, let this group, let your friends in this group help you. Stick to your goals. You are destined for great things. Women are super powerful. And I believe we're a force. We truly are in life. And absolutely, don't let it slow you down. Use the support. Take the help. There's no shame in taking help. Get your degree, and you and that baby can thrive financially and in every other way if you do so.
What I would tell myself would be that, like, not only is it going to be okay and you're going to get through this, but like, you are going to surpass all of the limitations, oh my goodness, that the world and that your, the father of your children and your friends and society puts on you. You're going to surpass it, and you're going to have more joy than you ever would have had if you did not have these boys.
And that just felt isolating, that I could not relate to people. But you're not alone. Like, we hear you, we see you, you can do this, even if it's going to be really, really hard. My mom growing up always told us, like, you can do hard things.
Yes.
And it just makes it that much easier when you have a support system. But some people don't. And sometimes it's just you and your baby, and that's all you need.
My advice would be to be strong, or as strong as you can be in the moment. You don't have to have all of the answers. Make sure that you build a community. Don't be afraid to lean on others. And just, I know it's hard to imagine this, but enjoy the journey.
Do what you feel like is the best thing for you. Like, you only know like what you are capable of like handling or dealing with. Like, I know like people are worried like, oh, what about my parents? Or what about like, I'm going to lose my friends? Like, I was worried about those things too. Like, I was more so worried about my parents and my grandparents because we're so close. But like, even to this day, like, of course they were disappointed at first, but like to this day, they always say Caden's like the best thing that's ever happened to us. So like, don't stress. Like, it's going to be growing pains, and it's going to be a big thing for people to like accept and like adjust to, because like you literally are going to live a whole new normal. But like, it's going to be the best thing that you've ever experienced.
I would say don't be afraid to open up and get your support and your help, because it's more than physical needed help, just like I needed a place to live at the time and things. It's more just the emotional side of what's going on. And when, like I said, when people finally found out, they rallied around me.
Honestly, just having the flexibility of like knowing that everything might not work out like exactly how you envision, but it works out for exactly what you need. And it all just comes together.
It's all going to be okay. It's all going to be okay. It's all going to work out.
It does. It does. Yes.
It really does.
Don't feel like your dreams are shattered. That was literally the first thing I said to the doctor when she told me I was pregnant. I was like, I'm an athlete. I can't be pregnant right now. Like, that's just not possible. And, I mean, I still was able to make it back on the court and have a collegiate career. I got a job out of it. I mean, I get to share my story with other women now and encourage them and walk alongside them and coach volleyball and raise my daughter. And it's super special to be able to see that on the other end.
Your dreams may be slowed down a little bit because you were on the fast track for them. But just because they're slowed down doesn't mean that they no longer exist. You can still do everything you want to do. You just may have to make a few pit stops along the way. And you may not be riding that red eye. You're probably going to be riding the one where you have some layovers.
And that, my friends, brings us to an end of our 50th episode. What a ride it has been. We've laughed, we've cried, we've been floored by the raw honesty and strength of the stories that have been shared over the past 2 years. Thank you for being here. Whether you've listened since day one or whether you're new to us, your support is what keeps this podcast going, and we are just getting started. Here's to 50 more episodes, more powerful voices, and continuing to shine a light on the stories that matter the most. To all of our listeners, we hope to have you back for our next episode of Unplanned and Untold. Bye-bye. Unplanned and Untold drops new episodes every other Wednesday. We're available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and give us a 5-star review if you love this episode. I'm Caitlin Willing, and this is Unplanned and Untold.